here in Bosnia. Yesterday was a really impactful day for all of us as we were commemorating the genocide, the 30th anniversary of the genocide. So as Islamic Relief started during the war here in Bosnia, a few years before the genocide, so how did it start? How was the situation back then? Can you give us a bit of a brief on how it starts, inshallah?
Alhamdulillah, wassalamu ala rasulillah. Islamic Relief first response to Bosnia, before Bosnia crisis happened, was in December 1991, where Javid Bustam, as a fundraiser, came at the time of the conflict between Croatia and Serbia in December 91, and he visited Marhamat in Sarajevo, and Mashayikhat, and because of some internal displaced people came to Sarajevo, and Islamic Relief were donating $10,000 at that time before opening the office in Sarajevo. We were expecting the war in Bosnia 1 or 2 years before the war happened, because after the death of Tito, the Union of Yugoslavia collapsed, became Slovenia, Serbia, Croatia, Montenegro, Montenegro, Bosnia, and something, Macedonia. So, but when the union was broke, so the war started between Serbia and Croatia. Maybe a very small conflict was with Slovenia, but Slovenia was a bit far from Serbia. So Serbia was the one behind actually this war. When there was a referendum by the Bosnians to become independent from Yugoslavia, and the Bosnian made the referendum of independence, I think it was April, May 1992, here was the Serbs start to attack Bosnia. We had the office in Sarajevo, but Sarajevo at that time was under siege. So nobody can come in or go out. And people left Sarajevo. Many thousands of people left Sarajevo to neighboring cities or towns or whatever it is. So Islamic Relief started officially in Bosnia after April, May 1992 in humanitarian response, like food, shelter, water, sanitation, camping, all this kind of thing. Because a lot of displaced people went from Sarajevo and Bosnia to Slovenia, and went to Zagreb as well, and Split. I visited the country here, but couldn't be able to go to Bosnia. But we were visiting the displaced people, or if we're calling it the refugees, in Split, which is a part of Croatia at the Adriatic Sea, and Chernomir, which was the first group of young women, old women and children, and which is at the border of Slovenia. But we could not be able to go into Bosnia at that time. Slovenski Broad, Bosanski Broad, yes, there's at the border between Bosnia and other areas, and we saw the people there as well. This was April, May, June 1992. Then we decided when I was in Split, which is a very attractive seaside and tourist area for the German. Most of the German goes to Split, person on the Adriatic. And so I met Sheikh Saleh Julakovic, was the president of the Islamic community, and I took him with me to take him to make a tour to different countries. Alhamdulillah, he came with me to Britain. He visited Islamic Relief, and people in Britain did not know anything about Bosnia. And we were the first organization to promote the plight of the Bosnian in UK. Then from there, Allah inspired us to go to visit other countries, not places. So while I was in UK, I called Qatar to the chairman of Qatar Yatim and Widow Fund, which became later on Qatar Charity. And I said, Sheikh Saleh is with me, can you come to Qatar? He said, yeah, come. Just like this. We went there, we met the Amir of Qatar, the Amir of Qatar, which is the grandfather of the current Amir, not the father, the grandfather of the current Amir, the Foreign Office Minister. And from there, we were told that the Bahraini brothers were there and they want you to go there. So we went from Qatar to Bahrain, and they went the ruler, Sheikh Isa, and his cabinet, and he donated some money for us because nobody knew about Bosnia. Then from there, we went to Emirate with the Sheikh. They have been met by many local organizations. Then met the chair of the Shura Council in Abu Dhabi. And from there, we rode to Kuwait to the Amir, and the Amir passed the request to the Vice Amir or the Deputy Amir. And we met, we're in the the custodianship of Sheikh Sa'ad al-Abdallah, which was the Vice Amir, and we were there for about a week. Can we carry on? And from there we went to Egypt, hosted by the Grand Sheikh of Al-Azhar. And in Egypt, actually we stayed for about 2 weeks, nearly, and visiting many districts. Talk about Bosnia. We met the Prime Minister of Egypt, Atif Sifri, met the Foreign Office Minister, which was Amr Musa. We met the Grand Sheikh of Al-Azhar, which is Sheikh Rijal al-Haq, rahmatullah alayh, and the Mufti, Sheikh Nantawi, and the Minister of Health, and the chair of the ruling political party, Yusuf Wali, and in Egypt, and it was very, very fruitful, and a lot of organizations, and this is how we started, not only to talk about Islamic Relief in Bosnia, but to talk about Bosnia to these countries. Because most of the people in this country did not know where Bosnia. Even we had the Jum'ah khutbah in Al-Azhar University, Al-Azhar Mosque, not Al-Azhar University. And Sheikh Saleh was speaking. Sheikh Saleh was fair skin, like European, Caucasian, with I think green or gray or blue eyes, I can't remember, with this kind of hair and speaking very good Arabic. So the people in the mosque were so excited. Then we went to the largest and oldest mosque in Egypt, which was called Amr ibn As Mosque, in a very conservative, low social class area, which is the area where the slaughterhouses are, Madbah. And the people were scared, the government was scared that in Madbah, which is people will come up, because this was the first mosque and it was the largest mosque in Cairo, bigger than Al-Azhar. And people would, said we don't, it's not oh. So we went to Ismailia, Suez, went to Alexandria, went to Manufia as well in this area. So this was the introduction of the issue of Bosnia to the outside world. So our work was in Bosnia, attracting a lot of people. There was a lot of coordination committee created by the charity organizations, the Muslim ones, and Muslim charities came from all over the world, from as far as Indonesia, Morocco, Iran, Yemen, Africa, everywhere. Everybody came. Everybody came, to be very honest. It's not only Islamic Relief. Islamic Relief was one of the first. We had an office in Zagreb at that time. Then in 1993, it was my first visit to go to Sarajevo with UN plane to meet Muhammad Katarji, which was a country representative in Sarajevo. So it's a very difficult time because Sarajevo was under siege and the Serb was surrounding the whole city. That's why when you saw the tunnel, have you been to the tunnel?
You guys have been to the tunnel. The tunnel, have you been to the tunnel? Yes.
This tunnel, I went through it with about 800 meters at that time. With what you saw yesterday, there was just the beginning of the tunnel. Not the tunnel when you go. They show you the end of the tunnel, which was when you come out from the tunnel to the other side, and the beginning of the tunnel. But the tunnel is underneath the airport, so you cannot walk the whole area. So we pray for the soul of the lady who and the husband, Sida, I think Sida and Alia. Sida was the woman, and Alia was the man who opened their house for the people to dig the tunnel, and they were digging it underneath her house from this side, which is outside Sarajevo, to this side, which is about 800 meters, to a place called Herasinats, where actually they used to buy food and drink and get everything to come there. We wanted people to come from Sarajevo to go to the other side. So this tunnel was a life-saving area. One of our first attractive social projects was circumcision. Because in this area, they celebrate the circumcision, especially for boys. And this was actually, after crossing the tunnels, we were actually celebrating this with the local community. We had orphan sponsorship program from the very beginning. We have our advocacy program regarding the victims of rape, of the girls and the women who have been attacked daily, 6 or 7 times by the Chetnik. Actually, because at that time there was no Viagra, I'm just saying it because this is true. They were giving them tablets to enable the man to be able to make 6 or 7 or 5 times a day. Actually, and they were not releasing the young girls before 5 or 6 months till she become pregnant, and they will never be able to have abortion. That's why the generation now do not know their father from the Bosnia. Now they might be in their 30s, young girls and boys. This was one of our programs to support the victims of rape. Other programs is education for the children, to try to do it either in Zagreb mainly, or in Sarajevo, which was difficulty. When I went in September 1993 to Sarajevo, I met the president, Ali Izetbegovic, in his office, actually, and he was very committed, dedicated president. He did not leave Sarajevo. He said, I'm not going to leave Sarajevo, I'm going to stay in Sarajevo, the capital, and Sarajevo was under siege. And he said, reminded me with what happened to the Prophet ﷺ when he was actually surrounded, hostage, him and the Muslims in the area of Abu Talib, Shi'ab Abu Talib, and said that within 3 years' time we'll break the siege and we'll come out, and they broke the siege in 3 years, 1995. This was Bosnia, which saw the killing of at least 250,000 people. 80% of them were Muslims. Saw the destruction of nearly 800, 900 mosques. Some of them were registered in UNESCO, which is beautiful mosques, incredible. Just started. The mosque was started. The burning of the public library, which you have seen it here, this was on fire in 1992. To burn all the manuscript, which carries the history of Bosnia, or the history of Muslims in the country. It was very, very well organized war against the identity of Muslims in the country at the time. So the library was on fire for days, actually, and this is another one, destroying as many mosques as they can to remove the Muslim identity from the city, or from the country, not from the city, and dismantling the family of the Muslims, which is the Bosnian, by raping the married woman as well as the young girls in front of their parents, in front of their brothers, in front of their husband. And I remember a story was when they tied the legs and the arms of the father, I think, or the husband, and his daughter or his wife was raped in front of him. The youngest victim of rape at that time was a 4 years old girl. And this had been reported by the Guardian magazine, the Guardian newspaper, I think in March or April 1995. Said that the girl whose only mistake or crime that she's a Muslim. And they mentioned her name, which I'm not going to mention, but she was 4 years old. So you can imagine how a man can attack 4-year-old girl or old girl, what he was doing to her. And this was not written by us as Muslims. This was written by an English reporter. If I'm not mistaken, her name was Maggie O'Kane. So this is how Sarajevo, or how Bosnia started the war. And the war started in Bosnia, unfortunately, and this is how the Bosnians lived this plight, through this plight. The other thing, actually, which was one of the very attractive or genius project was mushroom cultivation. Because in the old building or the destroyed building, there's a lot of, nobody's there. We used to plant the mushroom in this old and broken, destroyed building, because mushroom was the only source of protein at that time. Whether you boil it, make it a soup, or whether you cook it, because there was no meat. Our first Qurbani project was supposed to be live Qurbani, but then we thought about why should this will decrease the livestock, so we started the canning process of the Qurbani meat from Bosnia to try to save the livestock. And we started in Hungary. There was canning factories in Hungary, and this was starting in Bosnia to save the livestock. Then we had a very big project about what do you call it, livelihood, where we were giving cows to the family of returnees after 1995. And this was started by a donation from Morocco. At that time was 50,000 mark, German mark, because the German mark was still before the European Union, actually, which we bought about 30 cows. So the donation came from Morocco, given to Sheikh Yusuf Qaradawi. Sheikh Yusuf Qaradawi met with me in Doha, and he told me this is a donation from the Muslims in Morocco, and it was 1999 or 98. And from there we bought the 30 cows, given to 30 families. And then the following year, Bismillah, mashallah, we applied for a grant from Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan Foundation in Emirates, in Abu Dhabi. And we managed to get from them $500,000. So we bought about 300 cows from Austria. You know, with the medical history, the father's name, the mother's name, the gene, and the life. It was meat and milk cows. Bismillah, mashallah. They have beautiful eyes, the cows, as well as very heavy, 400, 500 kilo. Each one of them was used for actually taking out from the trucks, jumping on the ground. You can hear it's rocking the ground. This was one of the big, one of the most unique projects that we have done. The following year was the returnees year, which was 2001. We had about 1.5, another $500,000 from Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan to refurbish the houses for the Bosnians to come back to their own houses. And we went from there up till now, which you have the livelihood project, greenhouse project, and orphan sponsorship project, education project, all these kind of things. And we're still working in Bosnia up to today. And today or yesterday, when we all went to Srebrenica to commemorate the 30th anniversary of the genocide, actually. During this genocide, if you have not heard the story, Srebrenica was actually was protected by the UN peacekeeping forces from Holland. Actually, because there was 5 enclaves that the Serbs were putting them under siege. It was Bihać, Sarajevo, Srebrenica, Gorazda, and can't remember number 5. The most difficult of them was Gorazda, because it was inside the Serbian border on the mountain. Actually, then Sarajevo, then Bihać, then what's the other one? Banja Luka, which is none of the Banja Luka was the Serb. Anyway. So I was talking about, yes, we were actually trying to get the food to these areas and the material that the people need at that time. So it was a very, very difficult time, actually, and we managed to, with our partnership, to get people returned from Zagreb, returned from Europe back to Bosnia. Maybe at the beginning of 2000, actually this one, which we refurbished with a German organization called the Kapanamor, not sure if it's still existing or not, 500 houses, who were responsible for the electricity, for the woodwork of the houses, and they're responsible for the construction and building the house itself. So we did 500 houses. 2001, 2002. This was one of the projects which I was very proud of it. And we're still going on. But coming back to Srebrenica, Srebrenica was one of the areas under the siege, actually, and there was UN, Dutch peacekeeping forces. They surrendered the city to the Chetnik, which are now called them nowadays terrorist group of the Serbs. Like the terrorist group of every country, this one. And they took over, and they separated men from women. And the men who decided not to stay in the warehouses, have you seen the warehouses? The factory, these big warehouses. And some men went and walked for about nearly 40 or 50 kilometers or up more than that to be safe. The target was to kill all the young boys and men, even if they run through the forest. What happened is, after separating the woman from the men, was any young boy or a man or old man went to the actually was killed. And intentionally was killed. Apart from the people who were inside the warehouses or the factories who were automatically killed. And what you have seen in Srebrenica today, or yesterday, 7 or 8 remains of bodies. Even after they killing them, they were cutting the bodies and putting the remains of the bodies to different parts not in one place. There were actually mass graves as well as the remains of one body could be found in 4, 5, or 6 locations. Actually. We were responding to this by producing films, producing magazines to advocate for the right of the people who were attacked and killed in Srebrenica. And people say that in 3 days, 14,000 young men disappeared. What they have discovered up to now, 8,570, or 8,580 out of 14,000. Whether this 15,000 or 14,000 is actual or just exaggerating, this is beside the point. But they are still discovering the remains of the bodies up till now. And the peace in this area is fragile peace, because they make a Dayton agreement. Dayton agreement said that the government chairmanship or presidency should be rotating. 1 year in this group, 1 year for this group, 1 year for the group. So there's no stability at all whatsoever, because by the time you are the president or the prime minister, then next year you step down somewhere else, like musical chairs. I call it the musical chair government. I say peace. So the peace in Bosnia up till now is very fragile peace. Is the people are living on a hot plate. That's what we call it. When you are on a hot plate, you cannot stay. You're not stable. You have to run. Keep running all the time. So the peace in Bosnia is put on a hot plate. So it can burst, can be broken anytime. So Islamic Relief is still working hard. They have got more than 1,200 orphans, plus all this project for livelihood, the greenhouse and the others. Inshallah. This is in brief what I've been doing in Bosnia since 1991. Yes? Question about Bosnia, question about anything? Yes? Yes?
So I think from the speech that we heard like yesterday, I'm not sure it, you could really feel that your deep care about the Bosnian people. And I would like to know, like, outside of, or even you can't even like separate these two things obviously, but what is distinctive about the Bosnian people as compared to other Muslim communities?
So, first of all, it was the first time that the Muslims globally see white, blue-eyed, blonde-haired Muslims in Europe. They thought that Muslims were only black or brown. That's what at that time. So it was shocking for them, because most of those normal people in different parts of the Muslim world did not know that Islam is in Europe for hundreds of years. This was the first thing. Second thing, those people were not poor people, were not ignorant people, were highly educated, highly cultured, and highly civilized. Because they lived in cities, they produced manuscript, they contribute to the civilization of mankind, because they were a part of the Ottoman Empire at that time. Islam entered Bosnia, I think at that time, more than 500 years ago. Third point is, some of them were very well connected with the Arab world. So they used to come to Al-Azhar University or go and learn Islam in Saudi Arabia or Kuwait or Bahrain or Emirates, but actually mainly Saudi Arabia and Egypt and the Kuwait. So there's Mashayikha, there's actually the presidency of the Muftis and the Sheikhs and the others. So the shock for the Muslim Ummah was actually, they never realized that there was Islam in Europe. Never realized that those people can speak as good Arabic as the Arabs, or can become as good Hafiz as the Hafiz, or good Alim as the Alim. And when they listened to the philosophy of thinking of Ali Azza Begovic, he was ahead of them. He was ahead of them as a philosopher, as a thinker, as a leader, as a believer. And he was a very simple man, was ahead of all, don't have to be saying all, most of the Muslim leaders in this area. That's why this was the shocking factor, actually, for all the Muslim Ummah. But at that time, the main purpose was to make the ethnic cleansing in Bosnia, because the other group does not want Islam to be in Europe. Actually, they were united again with that. All of them, with due respect, all of them. Actually, but after 3 years, the Bosnian War, the Muslims were ahead and defeating the enemies, their enemies, and they have this term which I call it the unjust peace treaty, which has been mentioned by Ali Azza Begovic, is the peace treaty which gets the one with the broken hand arm, twisting the arm of the man with the broken arm. So the man has to stop it because it's so painful to keep his arm like this. And Ali Azza Begovic saw the oceans of blood of his own people, the mass destruction of the houses and the infrastructure and the mosques and the identity of Islam in the country, as well as the mass attack of rape on the young girls, to dismantle the fabric of the family of the Muslim or the Bosnian in the country. So to stop this, to make unjust peace. The unjust peace is still up till now. Any other questions? Or if any other question outside Bosnia, I'm happy.
Maybe one more thing regarding Bosnia, because you already mentioned like the still fragile political situation.
It is still, yeah.
So, considering these challenges, what is your vision for Bosnia from a humanitarian perspective?
You see, humanitarian perspective is just the first step of peace. Because humanitarian means that actually you supply humanitarian aid. And this was exactly can bring you back to Syria. And in Syria, in spite of the fact that the Syrians did not want to have a food basket, but they were insisting to give them food baskets for 12 years, or 15 years as humanitarian scholars. You did not take them from humanitarian to resilience. So peace not only in Bosnia, the Balkan as a whole, which is the word Balkan, means the honey and the blood, the land of honey and blood. You have seen maybe the forests, the mountains, the green areas, the rivers, and the fresh fruits, organic fruits, and organic meat. But people are still with having the knives behind their back to kill one another. This was not now, and ethnic cleansing in this area was not done today, been done many times before, especially after the collapse of the Ottoman Empire. The one before 1992 was in the 1940s, it's called Drina River Massacre. They slaughtered the Bosnian and threw their bodies in the Drina River. So the whole Balkan are on this hot plate, which include the ex-Yugoslav, which I mentioned the names, plus Albania, plus Bulgaria, plus Turkey. This is the whole Balkan. And this whole Balkan was, since the Ottoman, was on a hot plate, not actually in peace. Still up to now it is, unfortunately, because there was a lot of interest from other superpower in the area, particularly Russia. So this is how you have to be very careful. If you want to stand up for justice. Let the people decide for themselves. Don't decide for them. Don't say no. Let the people to make their own policy. If they want the Serb to run Bosnia, by election, by voting. If they want the Croat, by election, by voting. If they want the Bosnian, by election, by voting. Not by musical chair policy and actually politics. But now, Dayton Treaty made it a musical chair piece or governance. Governance cannot done by musical chairs. You are today, I am tomorrow, so what? Exactly like in Lebanon, each community has to have a share of the seats in the House of Commons. Why? Let the election to be for everybody. If the Christian Maronite become the best, they can lead. If the Shia become the best, they can lead, but by election. Like this is like exactly what happened in Iraq. Why should Bremer say that the president should be, I think should be, I'm not sure the Shia. The prime minister is one of them is Shia, and one of them is Muslim Sunni. What's that to do with you? Dividing the community on ethnic background. In Iraq, in Lebanon, and now in Bosnia. I'm not sure what they will do in Syria. No, once you divide people on ethnic background or faith-based background, there is no peace whatsoever. But I'm telling you again, in Bosnia especially, if the people choose whoever they like as leaders, I have no problem. It will become Serb or Croat or Bosnian. But now it is not. It's musical chair politics. or the politics of musical chair. Which I call it that treaty. Okay?
And then maybe one last thing, because as you know, obviously we have like a big Bosnian diaspora.
Yeah, the big one, yeah.
So maybe with the 30th Memorial Day happening yesterday, maybe you have like a message to our Bosnian community.
There's a message and there's another message. If you want to talk to the Bosnian diaspora, you have to have Bosnian in your organization. It's not a joke. If you want to talk to the German, you have to have German in your organization. Because the German government will all, you know your country, they love what you call Germania or Germanic or the German people. Okay, get the people from Germany to represent Islamic Relief. The German, not myself or yourself. You got it? There's something which is a challenge. The second point is speak, make a website or make a appeal in Bosnian languages, not only in German. Because maybe most of the Bosnians don't speak German. Because German is a very difficult language to learn. And this is a flattering because it's a very rich language. It's come after the Arabic language. So you cannot rise to the level of the Arabic language. No other language can rise to the level of the Arabic language, including German language, which is the second best or the third best. So get your appeals in Bosnian. Get your appeal in Albanian. Get your appeal, I'm not sure if there's a difference between Albania and Kosovo, because both of them speak Albanian language. But get the representation from the community to be a part of your organization. That's why if you want to get the attention of these communities in your countries, I don't know how many, maybe a million Bosnian now, maybe I don't know how many Albania, maybe a million, and in Switzerland, there's plenty, more than a million. Kosovo, Albanian, Macedonian, and Bosnian. And the office in Switzerland is speaking 4 or 5 languages, including French, and English. French and English, then Arabic, then Bosnian, then Albanian. 5 languages. Very difficult to deal with that. And this is something, but you have to represent them inside your executives and inside your board. Inside your General Assembly in Germany, that's it. Because you have the German, you have the Turkish. If you want to talk to the Turkish, you have to get Turk. Speak the language. Isn't it? I speak politics.
What about your message to the Bosnian community?
The message to the Bosnian is you have to keep the peace in Bosnia, not fragile peace, but.
Can you start again with just into the camera?
Which camera?
This one.
Because you keep moving.
So yes, your message again to the Bosnian community?
Yeah, because there's no telephone here. Okay.
So look at the main camera and your message to the Bosnian community in Germany.
Okay.
Because of the 30th anniversary of Srebrenica.
If we are commemorating the 30th anniversary of the massacre in Srebrenica, we have to have one slogan: not anymore. Not anymore. Enough is enough. We should not allow it to happen to Bosnian, or to Kosovo, or to African, or to Asian, or to any part of the world. We don't want to have what we call it ethnic cleansing into any community. Actually, which like happened before in different countries. This is number one. Number two, how can we maintain the peace? By coming together. Because every member of the society in Bosnia, actually, you have to build bridges between us and the Croat, between us and the Serb, and between us and the others. There might be some other minorities in Bosnia as well, because the slogan of Ali Izetbegovic, Bosnia for everyone, not for only the Muslims. This was 1992 when he won the election and before having the referendum, said Bosnia for everyone. So let people to feel that they are a part of the big country and build the peace on that. Number four is you explain to them what your aims and objectives, transparency. Okay? Because if you are not connecting with them, if you are not building relationship with others, they will look at you as an enemy. Transparency is very, very important. Closeness is very, very important. Building bridges is very, very important. Building partnership is very, very important. Because for the Serb, the Republika Srpska people, there is Serbia next to them. For the Croatian, there is Croatia next to them. For Bosnia, there is nobody. So for the Bosnian people, they have to work hard to let everybody to accept peace for one Bosnia, to review the politics of how to govern our countries, to start to stop this musical chair governance of the country, and to help build the infrastructure of the country. Because if they are working in Germany, they have to support the families in Bosnia. Actually, through tourism, through having local organization, Bosnian in Germany, to promote the rights of the Bosnian people, to send money to help building the infrastructure or other projects, service-oriented projects. This is what we need to give to the message to the German Bosnian, or to help their own people. To make bridge building, make build partnership, and have connection and communication with other communities. And to keep registering a lot of organizations in Germany to stand up for the Bosnian people, to for the rights of the Bosnian people as well. Because they cannot just keep talking as an individual. Imam and Sheikh are good, but not good enough. You need to have organizations. If you want to talk to the German government will listen to organizations. German government will read reports, not the speeches. German governments will read books written with facts. So tell the Bosnian people to increase the number of their organizations, just invest money in research, studies, and produce policy papers, and produce books, so that because any government, especially a government like Germany, will only read books or policy papers or research study outcomes, not speeches. Sometimes they speak and they cry and say that we've done it. No. Research studies, policy papers, and books. In German language. The Germans love their race, and love their language, and love their history from the time of Bismarck. Because his name is Bismarck, the unifying of the greater Germany. You remember Bismarck? Right.
I have one more request.
Okay.
Quick, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Again for the.
After we finish. Yeah, I will do it.
Oh, okay, fine.
Okay. Yes, you want to ask something? Bosnia or non-Bosnia? You can ask any question. Yes?
Then maybe some more advice, like specifically directed to like the young people of Germany, because I feel as one girl mentioned at the conference, and as like many young people in Germany feel also due to the politics we have, especially regarding the situation in Rasta, is that people feel like paralyzed, or they don't know, they want to do something, they want to change something, but they don't know how to. So maybe, especially for the young people, you have some advice on how to approach, how to, or even just from a humanitarian perspective, maybe politics to the side. What advice would you give them?
First of all, have a cool head. Without having cool head, you cannot think properly. Because when you become jumping and bumping and screaming and crying, you cannot think, and nobody will listen to you. Nobody will listen to you. Okay? It's number one. So don't be overexcited. Number two, do small things that you can do. Don't talk about big things that you will never be able to do. And people before you fail to do that. Like if you are a small young group of people, have an initiative. We call it in Arabic مبادرة. On the level of your road, street, be on the level of your village, or your area, residential area. With 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 young people like yourself. To try to impress the local community to support you. Okay? Demonstrations are good, but not good enough. You have to say, what is after annual demonstration? You have to have second, third, fourth, fifth. Yes, people saw us going on the road. So what's next? Because I remember in 2001, 2002, before the Iraq invasion, or that war, attack by the alliance, but more than 2 to 3 million people in London. Stop war coalition. Stop the war coalition. The war broke after that because the decision of stopping the war was not on the street, was not by the demonstration, but by the members of the parliament or what they call them in Germany, the member of the parliament, Bundestag, or what? Without the Bundestag, you cannot change any policy. That's right. Go let the young people to be excited on the street for days. Okay, fine. Who's going to make the decision? Those 500 to 1,000 people inside the Bundestag, or the House of Commons, or the House of Representatives, or the Congress, or the Senate. And we have to understand that. Number 4, for the young people, if they want to represent Islam, they have to understand Islam. Islam is not about hatred, about division, about secular, about sectarian, Salafi, Sufi, Tablighi, Jama'at, and all those divisive. Try to represent Islam as a way of life for everybody. If you have the copy of the Quran does not belong to you, and this is something you have to understand. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam does not belong to you. This is something that we have to understand as young people. Sunnah and Seerah and Sharia does not belong to you as Muslims. It belongs to humanity. But we are out of our ignorance and out of our foolishness of representing Islam, because the Muslims having the best way of life, but they are the worst ambassadors to represent the best way of life to others. Okay? Allah, when He revealed the Quran of Muhammad, it was not only for Muslims. It was to be explained to the non-Muslims, not to try to convert them. I was on an airplane going to Kosovo, and next to me was a young. She was not British or Irish, but when she spoke to me, her accent was different. And I was writing in Arabic, and she was looking. You know, as a European, they keep looking with the corner of their eye. I discovered that after 1 hour or so, I stopped. I said, "You know what I'm writing?" She said, "No, I don't know." I started to talk to her about this right from right to left, from up top to bottom, and this Arabic language, this. Then I told her, "I want you to read Quran." You raise your eyebrows. So what? For knowledge. I'm not interested that you become Muslim. Not my cup of tea. But I want to be interested to know the knowledge what's being written in this book. The character of the Prophet ﷺ. I want you to read about it. To know how this man saved the life of millions of people, millions and billions of people after their judgment. I'm not interested in you to become Muslim. Islam does not need you. I have 2 billion. So what? 2 billion one? I don't want you. But I want you to be more knowledgeable. Okay, more aware. This way you start to tell them, you see, you have a book, which I believe it has something which is not in any other book. Whether a man written book or God written book. Read and compare. And you challenge with sometimes with humility but arrogance. You may become humble but arrogant. Arrogant because of the message of Islam is above every message. Humble because when you represent it, people will respect you, so they can listen to you. Don't do that. We give speeches, we chant, we shout, we scream. If the German does not know Islam, or only knows Islam from the television, halas. They know Islam from the Islamophobe. And this, by our behavior, we fail to present that. And this is another message for them. Actually, you cannot just force people to become Muslims, to look like, or look a stranger. Why should I look a stranger to the German or to the Italian? I dress decently, but I don't look odd. There's a big difference from dress decently but does not look odd as a woman or as a man. Why should there be a focus of attention? Because I can see even your beard is not trimmed. Even you're always, what do you call it, have this miserable looking midday, grumpy face. Why should be all the time like this? Why don't you smile? Good morning to your neighbor. But if you come out with your beard this way and with niqab, nobody can see you. The people, you make people to be stereotyped against you and to believe in what's been done or been said on the television or in their own media. You help the Islamophobe to attack Islam. This is something else, because Islam is about this is for the young people, about akhlaq of the Prophet ﷺ. I've been sent for the fulfillment of the best manner of mankind. Not any manner. The best manner. The best manner when you go to the next door neighbor who's not a Muslim and say, good morning, old man. Can I help you? Can I give you a cup of tea? Can I give you a sandwich? You want me to do anything for you? Or a lonely woman? You don't do that. Go to hell. Why? You want, and you can do a lot. You do a program for visiting the old people in the hospital. That nobody can visit them. Nobody visiting them. They don't have children to visit, relatives to visit, or neighbor to visit. When they see you without telling them, and Islam is about, if they ask you about afterwards, or your organization, go and visit the hospital, the normal hospital. And this hospital, I saw the old people in this hospital, when they find us, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10, coming to visit one sick Muslim brother or sister, and nobody is visiting them. Why don't you have something with agreement with the hospital to come and see, talk to, or bring some fruits, something that actually to those people who are actually nobody here visiting. There's many things that you can do. Why should you start with the very what do you call it, confrontational, and chanting and screaming and okay, fine. So what's next? People observe you by your behavior, okay, by their eyes, and we give them the ammunition so that we are radical or extremist or terrorist. Many things that you can do. Organize organizations. Represent Islam in the way that the Prophet ﷺ said. Islam is a manner. Islam is a behavior. Islam is dealing. Islam is communicating with people, not just giving a speech. Islam is not in the mosque. How many mosques do you have in Germany? How many mosques do you have in Italy?
1,400.
How many?
1,400.
Average number of people pray in the mosque in Italy? 50, 100?
No.
I think
Una Jumu'ah, basic Jumu'ah is
Jumu'ah,
50, no? 50.
yeah.
You have 1,400 multiplied by 50, by 100.
كان في دراسة إنه اللي بيروح المسجد من 2 مليون ونص مسلم تقريبا موجود في إيطاليا ممكن لا يتعدوا 15%.
خليهم 20%. Did you invite the other 80%? You said 20%, 15-20% only go to the mosque on Friday. That means in days not Friday, they are 5% or 1%. Did you work on the other 80%? Which will never come to the mosque? No. What is the role of the imam? Waste of time. What's the role of the management of the mosque? Waste of time. How many Muslims in Germany?
2,700.
Average of people praying in the mosque?
On the Jumu'ah,
Whatever it is, you can make your call.
yeah, I think it's like we have like 6 million Muslims. I would say like maybe 30% attend Jumu'ah.
What about the 70%? Where are they? What do you call yourself? 70% are in the pubs, casino, whatever it is. And even the 30%, they just go for Jummah. Or go for Ramadan. Where's the rest? Here, tell the young people, what are you doing? You cannot change the whole world. Listen to this. Nobody can change the whole world. And they have seen it when Allah revealed the Quran in 23 years. Not 1 year, not 1 day. He gave Musa alayhi salam the 10 Commandments in 1 meeting. Okay? Fine? But he revealed the Quran in 23 years. Because Quran is the book for humanity. Came to be the last book for everybody. Not only for the children of Israel, for Isa alayhi salam, or only for Musa for the 10 Commandments. No. It is the book for humanity and forever. Do we know it? Or just the mosque are making hafiz without understanding what hafiz they have? Or celebrating. Or with 10 hafiz, 20 hafiz, 100 hafiz, 1,000 hafiz. But are the hafiz know? Do the hafiz know what they are making hafiz for? Do you know the Arabic language? Can we teach the Arabic language? I don't know. Yes, sister. You want to ask a question? Any other question? Another question?
أنا كان عندي سؤال يكون بالعربي.
تفضل.
أنا أذكر لما كنت صغير كانت المجزرة يعني أنا من مواليد 89 يعني يمكن يكون عندي 5-6 سنوات.
على سربنيتسا ولا على؟
نعم على سربنيتسا. فكنت أسمع إنه كان يروحوا من كل البلاد يعني ناس يعني في الحرب يعني حتى يحارب في البوسنة وكذا. فكيف الإغاثة الإسلامية أنها كان أول سنوات يعني وجود الإغاثة الإسلامية، كيف تعاملت مع هذا الوضع؟ يعني يكون فيه حرب، يكون فيها ناس تقاتل وكذا، وثقافة مختلفة يعني في أوروبا. كيف الإغاثة الإسلامية الآن يعني نسمع الإغاثة الإسلامية في أفريقيا والجماعات المسلحة تستطيع أن تتعامل مع هذا الوضع، لكن في الأول كيف تعاملت الإغاثة الإسلامية؟
The question is about how the Islamic Relief was dealing with the conflict in the area where the war zone without being a part of the conflict, without engaging in supporting a conflict zone, armed people in this area. Since 1989 or 88 or 87, we started opening the Office of Islamic Relief 1991, 1992, with the policy of don't do a mistake with good intention. With the policy of you are actually doing one thing, is delivering the humanitarian support to the people. You are not drifting to this side or to this side. With implementing the 5 principles or 7 principles, 7 principles of the international IRC principles or the UN humanitarian principles. Which one of them is impartiality? The second one is عدم الانحياز يعني neutrality. And we use this in Bosnia. We use this, and that's why nobody could have attacked Islamic Relief. They can make a rumor about Islamic Relief, but from day one, we told them, don't cross the line. Don't be excited, young people. People became excited before September 11. They were put in jail after September 11. They were killed by their own government after September 11, and before September 11. Why in America that Islamic Relief is still functioning up till now, after September 11? September 11 was 24 years ago. George Bush, the junior, actually, he himself announced the names of the Muslim organization that he closed by himself. He was demeaning himself as the president of the most powerful country on earth, and he was announcing the names of this organization instead of letting somebody else actually to announce. He could have given it to a minister, he could have given it to a head of department, but he himself did it. Why didn't he close Islamic Relief in America in 2001 or 2002, 2003? Some of the organizations being closed down, their chairman put in jail. I'll tell you something to understand where we came from. I used to have a complaint from the country director or the CEO of America, or the fundraiser of America, saying that we go to the mosque, we raise $5,000. This organization goes to the mosque, it's 50,000, 9,000. I said, okay, fine, what you say? He said, we say humanitarian messages. What they say is non-humanitarian messages. I said, don't ever say what they say. Stick to what you say, because everyone in the mosque listening to you, and some of them reporting you. I give you something else which we learned in 2003. You were with me in 2003. Okay. By the way, brothers, this is sisters that are in charge of Islamic Relief Italy, and this actually the brother and sister from Germany, fundraiser and communication, and brother also from Italy, fundraiser. Okay. In 2003, the Minister of International Development of UK came and visited me, with us, not me, in Birmingham, because she was from Birmingham. And she had a private meeting. After meeting the executive board, she said, "Now I want to talk to you privately." So I asked the brothers to leave, and she told me, the police arrested a volunteer in Manchester airport who said that he is a volunteer of Islamic Relief, and he was carrying a gun. I said, so? He said, have the police contacted you? I said, no. He said, are you sure? I said, no, nobody contacted me, and we don't have volunteers who carry a gun. I said, why? He said, are you sure that they have not contacted you? She repeated many times. I said, yes, I'm sure, because I'm sitting in front of you telling you the truth. I said, okay, fine. Second question was, when did you last visit an embassy, British embassy? I said, I came from Cairo 2 weeks ago. And there was with the ambassador. His wife was Egyptian, and he is Egyptian, and he is Sir Derek Ramsey. I said, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. I'm just telling you, I came from Egypt 2 weeks ago. I said, why? He said, because if they wanted to block Islamic Relief, they could have sent a fax to all, at that time was a fax, it was not an email or a memo, to all the embassies not to meet you and to block Islamic. I said, why you are saying all this? You know what she said? She said, because 14 years ago, or in 2003, 14 years ago, what year was it?
2009.
Huh?
2009.
Can you go back to school, please?
You said from 2023.
2003.
2003.
2017.
2003.
Huh?
2017?
Oh my God.
93.
Please, kindergarten, please.
No,
Just
2003.
verify which date.
I said 2003, 14 years before that.
1999.
Oh, before 2003.
1999.
You go to three of them. These are the most senior people.
1989. 89.
89.
Yeah.
I thought you said 14 years after 2003, but okay.
Did I say after?
You should speak Arabic with me, that's my first language.
Arabic is your first language?
Yeah, as a Pakistani, that's my first language.
Okay. That means, I said, no, I said 14 years ago they listened to you. And you said something they don't like. I told them, Minister, I say privately what I say publicly. You know what she told me? I trust you, but look at your ceiling. This is 2003. So the people think that they are not. Okay? Look at your ceiling and look at your employees. So one of them could be writing a report about what's happening in the office. This was 22 years ago. I said I don't care because I don't hide anything. I went back to see what happened in 1989. Our Islamic Relief size was as small as this, maybe 100,000, less than 200,000. But at that time there was a flood in Khartoum, and the Ministry of Defense was sending aeroplane loaded by aid material. And one of the excited young girls like you, we want our plane, She excited me, and I rang the Ministry of Defense, which means I rang the intelligence. I told them, I want the plane. I said, what? I want the plane. What for, sir? Because I want to send some aid material to Sudan. I said, okay, thank you. Our last plane went last week. Maybe next time we'll contact you. This was the only time I contacted the Ministry of Defense for a plane. So the name of Islamic Relief was put since that time. But if she said 14 years ago, 1989, even your size was as small as this. But the one individual who think about a plane or about a ship, this big thing, this big vision, we need to protect our country and save it from maybe people who might do something funny. This morning I was speaking to the security of the Duchess of Edinburgh. I can smell them that all of them are security. You know why? Because the body belt. You know the people who are sitting having the breakfast?
Yeah.
No body belt.
Yeah.
Even one day I was with an American woman from the embassy. She's coming to sit down with us for a tour in the Thames, on the boat. Bismillah, mashallah, her body belt was, if she can just punch me, I will. I knew that she's coming from the CIA to represent the American government in this meeting. And the only thing I told them this morning, we kept our impartiality since 1992 in Bosnia. We did not cross this side, and we're still working in Bosnia after 33 years. There's a message for them. Here, there is no emotion. Who asked me the question? You? There is no emotion. If you become emotional, you will have what happened to the Muslim charities in America in 2003. Don't use your emotion and decrease your adrenaline level. We used to work in Chechnya, isn't it? The people who are fighting are the Russians. The people who are helping are the Muslims. And we are helping the people whom the Russians are fighting. But why the Russians kept us up till now? Because of impartiality. You got it? So if you become excited, like young people, you get the big problem to your organization.
يعني نفس الموضوع لو حبينا نربطه مثلا بما يحدث في غزة.
Same.
نفس
Same.
الأمر يعني لو تتكلم وتنفعل.
I'm telling you, even regarding Gaza, I'm telling you, when you cross the line, you have to know, once you cross this line, what will you find outside the line? You have to understand that. If you don't touch humanitarian work. Humanitarian work is full of politics, full of secret agencies at every conflict zone. At every conflict zone. You could talk to Syria, it has got many international secret agencies inside these difficult areas, writing about you, writing about others. Don't play games. If you don't know how to play it, don't go. Don't touch it. It's not we raised on the social media maybe £1 million. Let's go and throw it. If you do it wrong, they'll get you. Not today, tomorrow. And you know, in the case of Gaza, it's very, very difficult. You have to maintain, as humanitarian, what you say and what you don't say. To control yourself. If you are an individual, it's up to you. I'm not going to interfere with you as an individual. But if you represent a humanitarian organization or social organization, you have to understand the implication of any statement on your organization. If you don't, it's up to you. You love jail, very nice, 5-star, those nice waters and television, all this. If you love it, Bismillah, mashallah.
كان في سؤال ثاني بالنسبة لمجزرة سرينيسا. ماذا غير الحدث في تاريخ يعني في حياتك؟ يعني نعم. يعني ماذا غيرت المجزرة في
Well, we have not seen only the Srebrenica massacre or genocide. I've seen a lot. And we managed to maintain, you see, our feeling, how to control our feeling. Before Srebrenica, we knew from the statement of the raped young girls, it's more difficult than Srebrenica. When you find a woman telling you in an interview that I have been attacked 7 times every day, and you have to maintain, you become cool, and control yourself. When Srebrenica came, it did not change anything, but it led us to compose and be able to perform. That's why if we cross the line at that time, some people have been closed down. And to be very honest, there's some states love to close Islamic Relief globally. Well, when I'm speaking now. But they can't, because you maintain your impartiality and neutrality and the connection with European Union, with UN organization and other organizations. Nothing's changed. You have to be, I say it in Arabic or in English, you have to be cool, headed, sticky, يعني does not speak too much, and miserably, because you don't make mistakes. I'd love you to make a mistake. I'm not going to. Thank you. I'm going to do that. Do all this and maintain it with cool head. That's why they come and tell you, okay, we can do, we know here. We know what she's going to talk about. Because I've heard her over the last 20 years saying the same thing again. Halas, finished. Yes. Any other question or?
We are leaving in about 10 minutes. Me and
Okay.
you and whoever wants to go smoke.
Inshallah. Halas, the last thing from you, we can record. Halas, we can stop Hassan.